All right, the Stanley Cup playoffs have been fantastic. Every game seems to be coming down to the last few minutes. And so let's spend a few minutes with Shukri Wrights, who joins us to talk some National Hockey League. Shukri, once again, thanks for making some time for us here on the show and making the appearance. Let's get right into it. The Toronto Maple Leafs, have to be feeling pretty good about their win last night as they take on the defended champion Florida Panthers, go up big, end up hanging on. But their goaltender, Stolarz, gets hurt in this one. They do win, and they're still, favored to win the series, but not by much. Shukri, do you think that they're able to win a series like this? I haven't said this about the Maple Leafs in, I don't know, 15, 20 years.
Thank you for having me on, Craig. It's a pleasure to be back on here with you. And I want to first off start by saying that I do think that the Toronto Maple Leafs can win the series in six, but as far as last night's game was concerned, it was a statement win for the Toronto Maple Leafs, in which that I believe that this postseason so far for the Toronto Maple Leafs has been a let's prove it to everyone that we can rewrite the narrative. And last night against the defending Stanley Cup champions, they raced out to the 4-1 lead. And even though the Panthers did get back into the game, like the fact that the Maple Leafs were able to show that grit, especially with the big goal by Matthew Nyes, was absolutely huge, and yet again proved the grit that the Maple Leafs have shown during these playoffs has been absolutely for real. But as far as Anthony Stolarz is concerned, I do think that the NHL absolutely made a major mistake by not suspending Sam Bennett for his hit, and Anthony Stolarz, which knocked him out of the game, which became a big story after game number one between the Leafs and Panthers. But man, as you mentioned, the Maple Leafs, they deserve and they should be favored in this series. I do think that because of the structure that Craig Berube has brought to Toronto, it has certainly changed how this team has played it structurally and as well as how they defended their own end.
We got game one tonight between the Hurricanes and Capitals. I don't know what will be in store for tonight. I guess you never know. Of course, Ovechkin
Yeah.
searching for a championship tonight, with the Capitals being slight dogs at home. Hurricanes favored to win the series heavily and favored to win game one tonight. Minus 125, a total of 5.5. So let's dive in. How do you think the series goes?
You know what's interesting about this series is that this series, if you go back to the regular season, the Hurricanes and Capitals, they split the regular season series with the home team winning all four games. So what I will say is that I think one of the big factors in this series between the Hurricanes and as well as the Hurricanes and the Capitals is that the Hurricanes, they're going to need Sebastian Aho to continue to be the game breaker that he has been. But not only just the fact that he's a game breaker, he's also a game changer who's always come up big in big moments. And as for the Capitals, I do think that it is going to be really important for goaltending, especially Logan Thompson, for him to answer the bell the way that he did for the Capitals in the first round against the Montreal Canadiens. But I do think one aspect in terms of the Hurricanes that is going to be huge is the availability of Frederick Anderson. That's going to be the biggest question going into the series. He did sustain an injury in game four against the New Jersey Devils, and he didn't play in game five, but he has been skating and practicing. So I do think that goaltending for both the Capitals and Hurricanes is going to be huge in this series. And when you look at both sides of the ledger.
All right, so the heavyweight series out west tonight is Edmonton and the Las Vegas Golden Knights here, and the Knights are
Yeah.
favored, but of course, Connor McDavid is on the other side of this one, so you got to be forewarned. 6.5 is the total here, so we could be in store for a lot of goals tonight. Do you have any position, Shukri, you think, in this game one?
I do think that Vegas wins game one against the Edmonton Oilers. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, well, number one, the Vegas Golden Knights, they're at home, which means they get the last change, which I think is going to be really huge for Bruce Cassidy, the head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights, to be able to dictate matchups and how he wants to defend against McDavid and Draisaitl. And I think that what it's going to come down to is the depth of the Vegas Golden Knights is going to be tested in this series tremendously. Whether if it's the team depth itself or the depth of his defensemen, in which that you talk about Noah Hannafin, Alex Petrangelo, Shea Theodore, just to name a few, like those guys are going to be really important in terms of trying to slow down both Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. But it is not just only about those two in Edmonton. even though those two players are two of the best players in the world, but they also have to figure out ways to be able to shut down other guys from get going in this series. The guys like Ryan Nugent Hopkins or Evan Bouchard, like for example, and as well as Evander Kane, who was huge in round one against the Kings. But I do think that the Golden Knights will win Game One at home to start the series.
Now, as far as the total goal scorer is, the top one here, Shukri, we threw some prop at you here today, and tell me if you like any of these. So this would be the leading goal
Sure.
scorer in the series between Vegas and Edmonton. We have Draisaitl is 3-1. McDavid is plus 430. I don't know if you can see our board here, but we have Hurdle and
Yeah.
Eichel and Stone as well as possibilities here. Do you think it has to be one of the top two, or can it be someone else?
I do think it's going to be Draisaitl, because like Draisaitl ultimately, like the way that he's able to just drive and score in so many different ways. Absolutely. And I like the props a lot. I am going to put my money where my mouth is. I think Draisaitl scores the most points, not just goals, but points in this series ahead of Connor McDavid. So I would absolutely take the prop bet to lunch and run with it.
All right. And then finally, what do you make of those crazy finals that the Stars and Jets had? I know that they had to go all the way to the end to get past it. Is that something that can help them move forward with momentum, or you think it hurts in the next round?
I think it helps, certainly, but especially more so in the case of the Winnipeg Jets, who had so much pressure going against them in game number seven. And just real quickly, they had to shed a number of a number of headlines out the window. Number one, Connor Hellebuck can't come up in a huge moment. He did come up huge in game number seven. Number two, the Winnipeg Jets not being able to advance in the playoffs gets around number two in the recent seasons. They did exactly just that. So I do think that for the Stars, they're going to be rolling in with a lot of confidence along with the Winnipeg Jets. But I do think for the Stars, seeing Mikko Rantanen break out in Game 7 in the third period, absolutely a game changer, and it's going to come up huge in this series.
Shukri, great to catch up with you. Thanks for all the breakdown here on the show.
Absolutely, my pleasure, Craig. Thank you for having me on.